Assalamu alaikum and good evening, and welcome once again to Chai with Rohima. On my show today, my guests are Edwina Donnelly, Sadia Mirza and Mel Adams, who will be joining us via Zoom. They are part of an organisation called MAITS, which is MAITS, which stands for the Multi-Agency International Training and Support. Today, we will be meeting with some of the team members who will be going over some of the work they're doing in Bangladesh and many other areas. First of all, if I could just say welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And Sadia, if I could please ask you to kindly introduce yourself and to let me, and let the viewers know who you are, what you do, and why it's so important to you.
Thank you so much, Rohima, first of all, for inviting us to this show. It's very nice meeting you all. I'm Sadia Mirza, and I am the Director of Operations for MAITS. Before I speak more about myself, I would like to tell you a bit about the charity. So MAITS is an international disability charity, and it was founded in 2008 by our now chairperson, Maheen Dalamal. And since our inception, we have been majorly funded by the ZVM Rangoon Foundation, and we are very much thankful to them for their trust in our work that we do and for all the support that they've been offering us for the past 12 years. Now, coming back to myself, as you asked, so I have got about 12 years of experience in international development sector, out of which 10 years I've spent with MAITS in different capacities, and as of now I'm the Director of Operations and taking a lead on the programs. Apart from this work, I'm also working for another charity called Global Giving, which is a one-of-a-kind crowdfunding platform. And throughout my career for the past 12 years, I've worked on several different international development projects, specifically in Asia. And it also includes works related to traditional arts and disability and sports as well.
That's wonderful. And what areas of Asia have you been focused on? I know you are in Bangladesh, but you are in other areas as well. Could you just...
Yes, so for the past couple of years, we are heavily working in Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, India, Pakistan, Nepal. So these have been our focus areas as of now, and we are very much enjoying working in these sectors.
That's wonderful. Let me bring you in there, Edwina. Edwina, please do kindly introduce yourself.
Thank you very much.
What you do. I'm sure the listeners will be very keen to hear what you have to say.
Thank you, Rohima. My name's Edwina, and I'm a project coordinator at MAITS. So I've been working for MAITS for just over a year now, actually. And in that time, I've been very fortunate to work with lots of different projects in countries obviously Bangladesh, but also in Pakistan, India, Sri Lanka, and also actually Uganda. So it's a wonderful role, and it involves different skills because I'm working in different cultures and different languages, different time zones. And I'm just trying to make the training run as smoothly as possible, actually, and to make our partner organisations at ease and to facilitate it as best I can.
I am going to bring Mel in now. Mel, hello. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Would you kindly introduce yourself? I know you've spent some time in Bangladesh. I'd like my viewers to know that, but I'd like you to introduce yourself and just let them know what it is you actually do in your position and why MAITS is important to you.
Thank you. Hi, yes, I'm Mel, and I've been working with MAITS for over 10 years, and I'm mainly leading on the development of our training packages and programs. I'm a speech and language therapist by background and have been working in the disability sector for 30 years or so, and 20 years of those have involved international work. So I've lived and worked in India, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and visited Nepal for work. And in Bangladesh, I was there for 3 years, setting up the first speech and language therapy degree course that is run at the CRP, the Centre for the Rehabilitation of the Paralysed, based in Shabar, and that's together with Dhaka University. And I was also carrying out field work for a PhD, and that involved training mums on feeding techniques for children with cerebral palsy. And I did that in 3 slum areas around Dhaka city, and also we worked within the hospital, the Dhaka Shishu Hospital as well, with the staff in the Child Development Unit. And that was a total privilege to have that level of contact and insight into people's lives. And I'm very grateful that people let me do it. It was fantastic.
It's wonderful
yes.
work that you do, and and I understand that disability is very rarely spoken about in those areas, so it must have been quite challenging for you at the time.
Yes, it was. It's more challenging for the mums, really. It was. Yeah, it was just amazing work, a real privilege, really. Yeah, and so I'm just so happy that Mates now has formed this strong relationship with the CRP, where my history with my relationship with Bangladesh all started. So for me, it's wonderful that it's happening. Yeah. So thanks.
Thank you very much. We'll come back to you again in a moment, if that's all right now. Sadia, if I could just ask you a question. What is the idea behind Mates?
Okay, so let me take you back from how we started this work. So as I said before, that Mates was founded in 2008 by Mihin Dalamal. At that point, our mission from that point and up till now is to improve the quality of lives of the people who are living with disabilities and special needs, and not just the people, but their families as well. Because when we help the families learn about their day-to-day life techniques that make the children more independent, it helps the entire family, every family member. So we do this by training healthcare professionals, special educators, and the community health workers, who in some countries are called either village health workers, lady health workers, or in India they're called Anganwadi workers. So we work with these people because they have got the direct access to people in the comfort of their homes. They can access families with special needs children, and there they tell them basic skills like toileting, bathing, and how to feed their children properly, which just helps them to improve their lives.
Yeah, I mean, in Bangladesh, I've seen some of the work of the CRP. I've seen some of the work of, of various charities, and obviously the ones with the most challenged are the ones with the disabilities, because it doesn't seem that inclusive or engaging, and it's obviously not a popular topic in those senses. And as you say, you've been doing this work. It started in 2008, which is, this is incredible. Finding it how easy is it to find those who are willing to come and accept the help, because that's something else. It's acknowledging that there's an issue, there's a disability, and all those things. So I mean, that's really wonderful. The programs that you currently have, you said they were in certain areas of Bangladesh as well as in other areas of South Asia. If you look, just excuse me for 1 minute while I just say to our viewers in Bengali that Mates একটা organization, তারা অনেক বাচ্চাইন্তরে মা বাপর গেছে, তারা একটু educational, তারপরে inclusiveness, তারপরে advice, information দেয় ডিসেবিলিটির বিষয় নিয়ে, তারা কিলান তারা সাহায্য করা যায়, কিলান বেস্ট প্র্যাকটিস করা যায়, ওটা নিয়ে তারা একটা কোর্স করে ঢাকা ইউনিভার্সিটির সাথে. So it's really a worthwhile organization, and one that has a lot of experience. So we're very privileged to have you here today. So Sadia, once again, why is this work so important? I mean, if I haven't mentioned some of it, but I'm sure you'll understand and you'll be able to say a lot more.
Yeah, so I would like to direct this to some of the facts and figures that have been published by WHO to tell you how important this work is. So if you see the facts that WHO has quoted, about 15% of the world's population is living with some sort of disabilities. And here I'm talking about 93 million children around the world who find it severely difficult to do their day-to-day life activities because of some sort of disabilities. Not just this, half of the people in the world who are living with disabilities, and this is not me saying this, this is what WHO has been telling us through their research, that half of the people living with disabilities cannot afford the healthcare that they need. Having said that, the people living with disabilities, they find it twice as likely as a non-disabled person to feel that the skills of a healthcare giver are inadequate for their needs. And it doesn't stop here. About a disabled person is 4 times more likely to just experience that, they are being denied of the healthcare services that they require. So these are just the facts that WHO tells us, and they say that if these disabled people get the right kind of services and support that they need, they can be a part of the society as any other person is. But 40% of the people in this world who are disabled do not get the support and services they need, and they well deserve. So this just tells us how important our work is, and this is a very small contribution from MATE's side. There's a lot more to do in this sector.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you that without such support and some awareness programs, educational programs, then it's very difficult for parents of children with disabilities or those with a disability to not only get the attention they deserve and the help and care that they need, but also to find find out what is available, what enhances life values, and also life expectancy, because without the right care, then it is damaging to the family as a whole, not just to the one that is disabled. I think we should, just to remind the viewers, if you don't mind, I would say once again that আপনারা যদি কোনো কোয়েশ্চন যদি ওই তাহে আপনারা কোনো যদি রিং করতে চান, আমরা নাম্বার ওখানে আছে স্ক্রিনও, please do ring in. We'll be happy to take any questions from you. And obviously, with COVID-19, it's kind of highlighted the issues around those with disabilities and the vulnerabilities.
Yes, of course, because the priority of the healthcare services has shifted now. So there is an increased risk to the health of the people who are living with disabilities. Whether they contract the infection or they don't, they are at an increased level of risk, and they are homebound due to the lockdown. So we need to train the community health workers who have got direct access to these homes, just to make sure that people can receive these services in the comfort of their homes. They don't have to go out and look for the care that they need for their child. There's somebody coming to them to tell them what needs to be done if they've got a child with disability.
Is it like, I know it's specific to one area, but is it accessible for all those in the area of Bangladesh?
In majority of the areas, yes. This is the way the healthcare system is being designed, that you've got expert therapists, then you have got lady health workers or community health workers who are responsible for smaller areas, especially in the rural regions. But these community health workers are not specifically trained on disabilities, so we need to make sure that they have got the right kind of skills in order to support people with disabilities as well, and that's what we're trying to do through MATE's services.
That's great. One of the other issues I think is also statistics, because it's almost impossible without a proper NHS system that would have health records, etc. etc. I think the MATE program is an ideal opportunity for health workers to be able to collate that evidence and show the changes over certain lengths of time.
Yes.
Which is also very important. I mean, the pandemic, affected everybody globally. Everybody globally, and of course, as you say, the most vulnerable are the worst hit.
Yes.
So, we're coming to a short break in a moment, and we will be discussing this. Please do call in. We're happy to take your calls, and we'll be going to a short break, so please do stay with us and come back after the break. See you shortly. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to the program. Just before the break, we were talking about the work of MATES and why it's been so important. And once again, we were just continuing with that topic. Can you tell us more about the reach out? Perhaps Edwina, if you would like to just, talk about the coverage or how you're able to use your platform in order to give out advice or train some of the therapists that
absolutely
that are there?
So we have quite a few training programs which are delivered to grassroots workers by specialist health workers. So for example, we have a program that works in neonatal units, working with mothers to become expert mothers on how to feed their babies who have special needs, and that advice and that training is given by specialist health carers who have received training from the MATES feeding program. So that's a really wonderful program that we offer. There's also our community health worker program, which is run by therapists, so they're physiotherapists, speech and language therapists, or occupational therapists, and they will work with community health workers, having received the MATES training on the Community Health Worker Empowerment Program. So the idea is to be working to working with as many local people as possible, and from their training they then work and it builds within the communities.
Therapists on disabilities and mental health is a relatively new concept to most trading sectors in Bangladesh. It's always been on the general side of things, whether it's nursing or healthcare or whatever. So the fact that you are managing to reach out, train some of the few therapists that have actually qualified from Dhaka University, etc., and they're able to reach out again. You're helping so many people, and that's really important because one of the issues we have, I guess, is acceptance. And acceptance of a disability, being inclusive, and generally giving them that equality of care, so that they can have a relative life expectancy that one would normally hope for, in any normal child that didn't have special needs. So I think if you were to look at perhaps children that come through the program, and their needs and how they have benefited, it's quite an interesting scenario, as it were, that the children wouldn't have really have had that.
That's right.
Especially with the babies in neonatal care. A lot of them.
And we do try and follow the families that our community health workers are visiting, and to monitor how the progress with the families, and to see how well the children are responding to these areas of the training. So that's really wonderful to see the kind of the benefit that these families are getting.
So she means that we're recording the progress. So we do the follow-up visits to see how our trainings that have been given through the community health workers are affecting the lives of the families and the children.
Well, as I said earlier, I think that's really, really important, the fact that there is a record and then a start of a process, because collating that evidence and is very important on where they're going and how their survival is. Who are you working with in Bangladesh?
Well, as Mel has mentioned, our main partner is the CRP, and we're running a community health working program with them at the moment, and we've trained through them 60 community health workers who are now working in 4 regions in the country. So that's again fantastic that it's spreading in that way.
And I noticed that you work with the rehabilitation of the paralysed, and they're based in Savar near Dhaka.
That's right, yeah. So they're our main, and we're just so grateful actually, because they're a wonderful partner to have, and a really well-established organisation, and the work they do is fantastic.
I have visited the centre. It's amazing. They do some amazing work.
So no, we're very grateful. I think we have a clip actually of some of the work that they do.
Perhaps we could, studio, could we please play this clip, because we think it's, it's a wonderful clip. So if we can just play the clip, please.
CRP was established by Dr. Valerie and Taylor, and CRP is providing rehabilitation services in Bangladesh for last 40 years. This is the center for rehabilitation. where a lot of people from Bangladesh has been benefited and are benefiting. CRP provides services for people with disability, particularly physical disabilities. CRP is currently receiving a training from MATES, the multi-agency international training, and MATES is providing a training on neurodevelopmental disabilities. And this training is going on in 3 phases, and our participants are really enjoying the training on neurodevelopmental disabilities. And thanks to all participants, and also thanks to the coordinator of Sadia and Kamili. Thank you very much.
Hello, me Fahmida work as a junior consultant PT and in charge of supportive seating unit. There is a good news that from the last year I had received responsibility to conduct the MERS training project for 1.5 years. From the last year, the August and September 2020, we had connected with the MERS. MERS is a multi-agency international training and support. We have connected with MERS through the 2 foreign volunteers of CRP. Both of them are John and Janet. They are the work as the partner organization with the MERS, and they try to connect it with CRP to MERS through the email correspondence, and they want to meet with me. So they offered us to conduct a training project on neurodevelopmental disability to help the community peoples, to help the severe staffs. For that reason, at first, MET offers us to conduct a training sessions that can be the online training sessions, and in this training project, total budget we can get from the MERS project, and that training project will be conducted with reimbursement fund. And we designed for our online training session, and in this online training session, we had connected with the 15 master trainer from our head office and all the sub-centers also. And here we participated in the PT, OT and SLT in all 3 department professionals. And this is the first training session in CRP where we just participated 3 department person, that are the physiotherapy, occupational therapists and the speech and language therapists. So especially thanks to MERS for that. Through this training project, here the 3 departments are participated at a time. So especially thanks on behalf of CRP, I just say thanks to Camila and Sadia who are directly involved with this training project, and other 3 trainers who are especially just give us the direction how to conduct this training session, how we can gather knowledge from this training session. And we just especially thanks to from on behalf of MERS to our CRP authority, CRP management team, especially our ED sir, Dr. Mohammed Hossain sir, our coordinator founder, Sister Valerie Taylor, and other management team who are directly involved and who give us the support from the beginning to conduct this.
I hope you enjoyed. And welcome back. That clip showed some of the development work and explained a bit about that. We're coming back to the studio. If we could just perhaps talk a little bit about how the training and the process of training, that would be really good. The process of training therapists and how you go about that. Could you please kindly expand? Please?
Yeah, so we normally partner with the organizations, and the organizations commit that their therapist will be joining the program, and we work along with the organization of the kind of training that they would need and the level of training that we would need. And we have got a package which is designed to train these therapists. So mind you that we are just training them to become trainers. They already know their skills. They are taught at their universities, they have practiced these skills. We are just training to become the trainers of the community health workers. And this package has been compiled and written by a lovely therapist who have volunteered their time in the UK to put this multidisciplinary package together. So this is being produced by mates that we're using around the world to train the therapists to become trainers. So the process starts with mates training these therapists through online trainings, because for the last 2 years there has been struggle in getting people to travel to these regions as much as we would like to travel and go and train face to face. But we have got to work around how we fill in those gaps. So we came up with these online trainings which we are delivering to the therapists. Once they complete these trainings, then under the supervision of our master trainers, who can be from any part of the world, we've got a master trainer sitting in Canada, US, UK, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, we've got them everywhere around the world. So under their supervision, they then start training the community health workers who are in their region. And once these community health workers are being trained on the MATES packages, they're now then ready to go out and visit the families. who they already have access to in some ways. They visit the families, they provide us the baseline data of the children that they visit, just to let us know what was the situation when they made the first visit. And then after every 3 months, they provide us the data about what progress has been made by that child and their families. And they work with the caregivers. Now these caregivers can be anyone from mother, father, grandparents, older siblings, uncle, aunts. Anyone who is living with that child needs to know what are the needs of these children, and that's where the community health worker helps.
And that's really good, because I you know, obviously I understand that they give their time for free, the global trainers.
So for the community health workers, we do keep an incentive just to support them. We do fund for their travel that they require, because sometimes they're traveling from really far to come and attend these trainings, and we make sure that these trainings are being delivered during their working hours. That is why we work with the organizations, because we can't overburden the therapists as well as the community health workers. So it's very important for the employers to work along with us in order to ensure that we are working within the capacities and we're not overburdening any staff members.
Especially in the last 2 years with COVID-19, it's been very difficult for everybody globally. And as I say, there's a lot of endeavour to try and bridge those gaps of inequalities, and this is an area where inequality existed way before you started your programs.
Yes.
So the fact that you are having an impact is of vital importance. Viewers, আপনারা যদি কোনো কোয়েশ্চেন যদি হয়ে থাকে আমি আবার কইছিলাম যে এটা মাল্টি এজেন্সি একটা অর্গানাইজেশন, তারা হেল্প করে ডিসেবিলিটি অ্যাডভাইসকে নিয়ে কি ট্রেনিং নিয়ে। আপনারা যদি কোনো কোয়েশ্চেন যদি হয়ে থাকে দয়া করে আপনি please call in the studio. We're here to take your calls should you wish to do that. Mel, I believe you have some more video clips explaining the community health worker training in Bangladesh.
Yes,
we'll come back to that.
Thank you. I also...
Shortly. But can you please just perhaps give us a little bit of a view about your work with the therapist whilst you were in Bangladesh?
Oh, okay. So when I was in Bangladesh, so I went to work at the CRPE. That was my first experience of working in Bangladesh, and they had a course for physiotherapists, a degree course, and a degree course for occupational therapists, but nothing for speech and language therapists. And so Valerie Taylor, who set up the CRPE in the first place, she said to me, would I set up a degree course for speech and language therapy that could be run through the CRP together with a local university, which then became affiliated to Dhaka University. So that was my first sort of how I started, really, and so we just developed the profession.
Achievement. I mean, to actually start something off, put it in infrastructure in a place where there was none, there wasn't even a basic. So, it was a really nice thing to be able to do. I was lucky because the CRP existed and because there was an infrastructure for other courses, and so really it was just sort of like an add-on. It was easier. And the CRP, the staff were very helpful and we're going to
made it
get
happen.
a short break, and after the break we hope to come back to you and show you a couple more videos which I think you will find very interesting, and I hope you'll stay with us and come back to us shortly. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to the show. Just before the break we were talking to Mel. I'm going to go back to Mel. Mel, thank you once again. If you wouldn't mind, just before the show we were talking about the training and the therapists. Could you please just give us a little bit more on that? And I know we have a clip to show in a little while, so please do tell us a little bit more about the therapists and how it came about. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. So I suppose my thought is some people might be wondering, how can we design something for people to be using in other countries when we've designed it in the UK? But I wanted to know that therapists from around the world did contribute to the training packages that we put together. They checked over them, made changes to things, tested them out, and so we've had input from therapists from everywhere. So I just wanted to make that clear. What's really exciting is that our reliance on overseas therapists is much greater now than our reliance on UK therapists, and that's what we wanted to achieve. So that feels really, really good. The development of the packages is an ongoing process, and so we're always trying to improve things, and we're now actually putting together video clips for parents or carers to watch, to show them exactly how they can support their child doing different things. And this is particularly useful, for example, in COVID times when even the community health workers are having difficulty reaching families. And so these clips can be shared through whatever means possible locally. So that's another development that's happened recently. So I just wanted to show you a clip here about how the therapists work with the community health workers. So we'll hear from therapists who've been trained on our programme, and also we'll hear from some community health workers who've received the training and are using that new knowledge and skills with their families, the families they're helping. So that's clip 2, if we could watch that one.
Yes, can you just play clip 2, please?
Thanks. Clinical speech and language therapist from CRP Bangladesh. I have 4 years work experience as a clinical speech and language therapist. Here I am working with children with disabilities and their parents, enabling them to provide appropriate support and guide with the children with disabilities. For this reason, I joined this training program. Last September 2020, MATES offered the training program with the collaboration of CRP, and in November 2020, I joined this training program by selection committee. Thank you.
I'm MD Shamsur Rahman, working as a clinical occupational therapist, CRP Select. I have working with CRP for last 2 years. As an occupational therapist, I work with children with disabilities. In last February 2021, MATES arranged one online class via Zoom meeting, and I attended their classes. And in August 2021, I started provide training to different trainees. The trainees are mainly child's parents, women and military school teachers and community health workers. I provided training to 20 trainees, including 5 community health workers. In total, 15 number of community health workers got training from our team. In a year, we hope for to provide training to a CP number of trainees, and in future, we hope it number can be increased. And final thanks to MATES and CRP to arrange this type of excellent training program.
আমি মোহাম্মদ আব্দুল আমি সিআরবিতে বিগত 7 বছর ধরে কাজ করছি। বর্তমান রিহ্যাব-উইনের সিবিআর ডিপার্টমেন্টে টেস্কো প্রজেক্টে আছি, মোবিলিটার কমিউনিটি মোবিলাইজার পদে। আমি গত ম্যাটসের 2য় টার্ম ট্রেনিংয়ে একজন সদস্য হিসেবে ওখানে ট্রেনিংটা উপভোগ করি। আমাদের এই ট্রেনিংয়ের মূল বিষয় ছিল একজন শিশু তার স্বাভাবিক বয়সের সাথে স্বাভাবিকভাবে বেড়ে না উঠে পিছনে যে কারণগুলো থাকে, যে প্রতিবন্ধকতাগুলো থাকে, এই জিনিসগুলো তারা আমাদেরকে শেখান যে একজন বাচ্চা স্বাভাবিক বয়সের সাথে তাল দিয়ে না বেড়ে উঠতে না পারলে কি কারণে উঠতে পারেন না, কি ধরনের প্রতিবন্ধকতা থাকে, এই বিষয়গুলোর উপরে আমাদেরকে ট্রেনিং দেওয়া হয়। এই কি ধরনের প্রতিবন্ধী এবং তাদের এই প্রতিবন্ধকতার সাথে তার পরিবার কিভাবে এই চ্যালেঞ্জের মুখোমুখি হবেন, তাদের কি ধরনের চিকিৎসা দরকার, ডিভাইস দরকার, কোথায় গেলে তারা সঠিক চিকিৎসাটা পাবেন সে সম্বন্ধে একটা ধারণা দেন। শুধু তাই নয়, এই ধারণাগুলোর উপরে আমাদের আবার কিছু কোশ্চেন করা হয়। আমরা এই কোশ্চেনগুলো অ্যান্সার করে থাকি এবং আমাদের সিআরপিতে সিপি ইউনিট আছে, যেখানে এই বাচ্চাদের চিকিৎসার ব্যবস্থা করানো হয় ভর্তি রেখে। সেখানে নিয়ে গিয়ে তারা আমাদেরকে সরাসরি প্র্যাকটিক্যাল দেখান যে বিষয়গুলোর উপর আমাদের এই যে বিগত 8-9 দিন ধরে ট্রেনিং হলো সেই ধরনের বাচ্চাগুলোর সঙ্গে পরিচিত করে দেন। আর যেটা বলছিলাম, এই ট্রেনিং থেকে আমি আমার পরিবার সমাজ অনেক উপকৃত। আশা করবো ম্যাথসকে সিএপি কে মাধ্যম করে অবশ্যই আমাদেরকে এই ধরনের আরো উন্নত আরো ভালো কিছু ট্রেনিং এর ব্যবস্থা রাখবে। ধন্যবাদ।
আসসালামু আলাইকুম, আমি আরিফুর রহমান। আমি গত 7 বছর যাবৎ সিআরপির সাথে সম্পৃক্ত আছি। আমি বর্তমানে রিহ্যাব ইউনিয়নের অধীনে সিবিআই বিভাগে একজন সিআরটি হিসেবে কর্মরত আছি। আমি ম্যাথসের দ্বিতীয় ধাপে একজন প্রশিক্ষণার্থী ছিলাম। আমরা ম্যাথসের এই প্রশিক্ষণ থেকে বিশেষায়িত কিছু শিশুদের বিশেষায়িত কিছু রোগ সম্বন্ধে এবং এর প্রতিকার এবং প্রতিরোধ সম্বন্ধে শিখেছি। আমাদের এই কর্মশালায় আমরা শিশুদের বিশেষ বিশেষ যে সমস্যাগুলো আছে সেই সমস্যাগুলো কিভাবে সমাধান করা যায় এবং এই সমাধানের জন্য কি কি কাজ করা প্রয়োজনীয় এবং পরিবারের সাথে শিশুদের সম্পর্ক কিভাবে আরো সুন্দর ও আন্তরিক করা যায় সেই জিনিসগুলো আমরা এখান থেকে শিখেছি। এই কর্মশালায় আমরা অনেক ধরনের পেপার ওয়ার্ক করেছি, সাথে সাথে আমরা বাস্তবভাবে শিশুদেরকে নিয়ে কাজ করেছি, যাতে সে সময় আমাদের বাবা মা এবং শিশুদের সাথে আমরা কাজ করেছি, যা আমাদের অনেক বড় এক ধরনের নতুন অভিজ্ঞতা। আমরা আশা করি ভবিষ্যতে আমাদের কর্মক্ষেত্রে এই প্রশিক্ষণ অনেক বেশি উপকৃত হবে এবং আমরা আশা করি ভবিষ্যতে যদি ম্যাথস কর্তৃপক্ষ আরো উন্নত কোনো প্রশিক্ষণ আয়োজন করে এবং আমরা সেই কর্মশালার অন্তর্ভুক্ত হতে পারবো। এই কর্মশালার জন্য, এই প্রশিক্ষণের জন্য আমি সিআরপির মাধ্যমে ম্যাথস কর্তৃপক্ষকে অবশ্যই
Thank you, Mel. That's that was a short clip. I understand you have another clip that you'd like to show about the community health workers. Would you like to tell us a little bit about the next clip?
Yes, so the next clip is very short actually, but it just gives an idea of the job of a community health worker. So we're just going to show a short section of the home visit by a community health worker giving advice to parents on how to feed their son with cerebral palsy.
Yeah, can you play the short
nutritional
clip 3?
Ito, aste aste. Aste aste. সোজা রাখুন। চামচটা আপনি এভাবে ধরুন, আস্তে আস্তে। এত তাড়াতাড়ি না, তাকে এই খাবারটা শেষ করতে দিন। খাও খাও। তাকে জিজ্ঞেস করবেন তার খাবারটুকু শেষ হলো কিনা, সেই সময়টুকু তাকে দিতে হবে। এবার আবার দিন, আর একটু কম। হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ, আর সব সময় মনে রাখবেন এ ধরনের মেলামাইন চামচ, প্লাস্টিকের চামচ দিয়ে তাকে খাওয়াতে হবে, ঠিক আছে? এবার একটু পানি দিন। হ্যাঁ, আস্তে, পয়সার মা, আস্তে অল্প অল্প করে। হ্যাঁ, এবার আর একটু দিন। দেখেছেন আপনাদের ছেলে কত সুন্দর করে খেয়েছে। আচ্ছা শুনুন, আমি যে বিশেষ খাবারের কথা বলবো সেই খাবারটা ঠিক এভাবেই খাওয়াতে হবে।
And thank you, Mel, for showing us that clip. I mean, it shows just how valuable that expertise and that advice and how useful that is. I know that it's so beneficial, and a lot of people who are watching this would be grateful for that support. I know you have another a final clip. Shall we?
That's
show
right. The final clip is where we hear from some parents who've received support from community health workers, and we just hear from them.
Assalamu alaikum. আমি মিলা, আমার ছেলে মুশফিক খন্দকার, সে সেরেব্রাল পালসিতে আক্রান্ত। আমি গত 8 বছর সিআরপিতে। আমি ম্যাথসের ট্রেনিং এর মাধ্যমে অনেক কিছু শিখেছি, বাচ্চার ডেভেলপমেন্ট, বাচ্চার অবস্থান এবং গতিশীলতা, পরিচালনা, প্লে টু ওয়ার্ক, কমিউনিকেশন অ্যান্ড বিহেভিয়ার, যে জিনিসগুলো আমাদের বাচ্চাদের ক্ষেত্রে অনেক বেশি প্রয়োজন, এগুলো আমরা ম্যাথস থেকে শিখেছি। তো ম্যাথস থেকে শেখার পরে আমি খুব বেশি আশাবাদী যে আমি আমার আশেপাশে যারা আছেন তাদেরকে খুব ভালোভাবে বোঝাতে পারবো, শেখাতে পারবো, তাদের কাছ থেকে বিভিন্ন তথ্য নিতে পারবো। সিআরপিকেও ধন্যবাদ। সিআরপিতে এসে আমাদের বাচ্চাদের অনেক সুযোগ সুবিধা পেয়েছি, পড়ালেখা, বিনোদন সবকিছু পেয়েছি। আর অবশেষে বলবো, আমাদের ট্রেনার যারা আছে তারা আমাদের খুব ভালোভাবে বুঝিয়েছেন এবং শিখিয়েছেন, তাদেরকে আমার তরফ থেকে ধন্যবাদ। সিআরপি এবং ম্যাথসকে অনেক ধন্যবাদ জানাচ্ছি।
আসসালামু আলাইকুম, আমি তাসলিমা ইসলাম, আমার মেয়ে তাসফিয়া তাবাচ্চুম তানহা। আমি এখান থেকে ম্যাথসের ট্রেনিং পেয়ে খুবই উপকৃত। আমি এখানে সিআরপিতে 8 বছর যাবত আছি। আমার মেয়ে অটিজম। এখন আমি এই ট্রেনিং এর মাধ্যমে তার অনেক যত্ন নিতে পারবো, আমার আশেপাশে যারা আছে তাদেরকে সঠিক তথ্য দিতে পারবো, আর এই ধরনের তথ্য সংগ্রহের জন্য আমি কাজ করতে পারবো। আর এই ধরনের ট্রেনিং পেয়ে আমি সিআরপি এবং ম্যাথসকে অনেক ধন্যবাদ।
আমার নাম ফারহানা আফরিন রুমি। আমার বাচ্চার নাম রৌনক হাসান রাদিক। আমার বাচ্চার রোগের ধরন ডাউন সিনড্রোম বেবি। দীর্ঘ 14 বছর আমি সিআরপির সাথে আছি। ম্যাথসের এই ট্রেনিং এর মাধ্যমে আমার বাচ্চার অনেক ভালোভাবে আমি যত্ন নিতে পারবো। এর মাধ্যমে অনেক তথ্য আমি পেয়েছি যা আমার আশেপাশে আমি কাজে লাগাতে পারবো। অনেক মাকে আমি এই মেসেজগুলো জানাতে পারবো এবং ম্যাথস এবং সিআরপিকে এই ধরনের ট্রেনিং রাখার জন্য আমি বিশেষভাবে ধন্যবাদ জানাচ্ছি।
Right. Mel, thank you so much. I mean, that's so, inspiring, that and the work that you carry out. How can families currently living in Bangladesh get support if they have a child with disabilities? How can they access information and support? Can you please give us briefly some information on that?
Well, the situation is changing, and I would say that now in quite a lot of government hospitals, children's hospitals, there is a child development unit called the Shishu Bikash Kendra, and they're sort of growing around the country, which is absolutely wonderful. So take your child there, get them assessed by a doctor, psychologist, and a developmental therapist, and you can take your child back if it's not too far away from where you live to get input from them, stimulation work, therapy. Some of the developmental therapists attached to these units do home visits as well. But if there isn't such a thing in your area, or at the same time, we look around for NGOs, local charities who specialise in working with children with special needs, and CBR programs, community-based rehab programs. There are different charities who have organisations or programs in different parts of the country. One of the good networks that I've come across is the Shishu Bikash network, and it's a network of organisations specialising in this. And the CRP, for example, is a member. The Dhaka Shishu Hospital Child Development Centre, in fact, leads on it. And so looking at that'll help you find somewhere in your area.
That's wonderful. I hope our viewers have enjoyed the program and found it very informative. I want to thank my guests for coming onto the program this evening. You've been watching Chai with Rohima, and I'd just like to thank you. Thank you all for coming onto the program. If for my viewers, if you need any information, please do look up Mates on the website, and I'm sure they would be very, very happy to help you, direct you, and give you some information. That's all for me from this evening. Have a wonderful evening. Inshallah, I shall see you in 2 weeks' time. Thank you, and assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.